Shalom, Yashala, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh. I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Yasharallah, called Haloyim Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Harakak Wadash, for blessing our elders with the spirit of truth, so that we may know. Shout out to the Akim and the Akwah that's keeping the faith and the work. Y'all keep at it. It's your brother Abaya coming at you with more precepts. It's the book of Sirach, which is Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 5 and verse 15. It says, "Be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or a small." All right? Be not ignorant of your surroundings. Be not ignorant of what you're watching on television. Be not ignorant of the agenda that's being pushed in the media. All right? These different channels, I know cable has like hundreds of channels, and all those hundreds of channels are controlled by 6 companies: Comcast, Disney, AT&T, Paramount, Sony, and Fox. And they even speaking about merging in the near future. So that 6 could turn into 4, or that 6 could turn into 3 or 2, right? But they are basically monopolizing media, meaning they are making it so to where there are no more independent media outlets. You have to go through these gatekeepers in order to get something seen, some form of entertainment seen, some form of knowledge seen. And if they say that they're not broadcasting certain truths because it's offensive to the public, then guess what? They're not broadcasting certain truths. And if they say they're going to broadcast the wickedness that they like, guess what's going to go on the airwaves? The wickedness that they like. And guess what's happening? Exactly that. All right. So let me see. I'm gonna go to the book of Revelation. The impact that this has on society is major, because culture stems from the media. Culture stems from whatever music is hot, right? Whatever movie or television show is tops. Those are the individuals that dictate how society is, how society views itself, right? Whether it be the clothes that you wear, the words that you speak, or what you are accepting and not accepting, right? It's the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 1. It says, "And there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication." So the daughter of Babylon is basically influencing the world to be just like her, from the top to the bottom, from your presidents and your governors and senators, all the way down to your average Joe working 9 to 5s, all the way down to your teenagers that's going to and fro school, all the way down to your kids that are barely learning how to walk, right? With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to let the video play and I'll be back.
Conover, creator of the comedy and journalism show Adam Ruins Everything, is alleging that Time Warner censored one of his episodes while in negotiations with AT&T about a potential merger. Conover explained to the head of the antitrust enforcement at the Department of Justice that the single time he was censored by the network was when he did an episode on, quote, monopolistic consolidation in the cable industry, because Time Warner was scared it would anger AT&T and jeopardize the merger.
Joining us now to discuss is Research Director for the American Economic Liberties Project and author of Goliath, Matt Stoller. Welcome, Matt.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So, tell us more about this story and why you wanted to highlight it. What is it? What is the lesson here?
Yeah, so there's a lot of discussion about disinformation and censorship and whatnot, and I think there's a lot there. People want to say that corporations want to help the left or the right, or neither or both, but really dominant firms use censorship all the time. They just use it to help themselves. And I thought this was a good story about that. But there are a lot of other examples of this problem.
Well, what did the censorship in this case actually look like?
Yeah, so what Adam says is that there was an episode which he did. So his show is a comedy journalistic show, and he talked about the episode was Adam Ruins the Internet, which was about how cable companies sort of screw you. And when they were in discussion with the merger, Time Warner pulled that episode from reruns and streaming because they were afraid that it would hurt AT&T during the merger. But there's other examples of this that I highlighted. You know, in 2008, Comcast refused to run a political ad in the Philadelphia or Pennsylvania area that criticized a candidate for doing something that would help Comcast on surveillance. And Comcast was an important player in that area, so a lot of voters didn't get to see that ad. Facebook routinely censors on its own behalf, so not for the right or the left, but, you know, Sheryl Sandberg got a Daily Mail story killed this was reported a couple weeks ago by the Wall Street Journal, because it made her look bad. And in 2009, Mark Zuckerberg actually deleted entirely a large Facebook group, hundreds of thousands of users, called Facebook Users Against the New Terms of Service. They were opposed to excessive surveillance, and Mark Zuckerberg just got rid of them. And the reason this matters, what takes something and says, oh, well, it's just a newspaper choosing not to run something in an editorial choice versus censorship, is dominance. Right? If there are a lot of newspapers, if there are a lot of social networks or whatever, and one of them won't run something, then that's editing. But if there's one, or if it's a major player in our cultural commons, then editing kind of bleeds into censorship. And what Adam Conover was saying is that because of merger policy, because we don't really enforce antitrust anymore, there used to be a broad spectrum of TV networks and entertainment venues and distributors, and today there are 6. Right, and there are rumors that there are going to be mergers of those. So there's just less and less ability to have free expression because, when you don't have many firms controlling the flow of information, then inherently their editorial choices become censorship choices, and we know that corporations censor to protect their own bottom line.
Yeah, I recently interviewed Bernie's deputy.
All right, so these individuals that run these major companies basically mold the minds of society, which is why today a lot of people, or the majority of people, are more accepting of things that they were not 20 or 30 years ago. It's because of what's pushed down your throat via the media. For example, right? I'm going to use rap for example. When rap was first introduced to the world, it was party, it was feel good, right? You even had some rappers that were rapping about knowledge, right? They were exposing some truths about who we are, right? KRS-One, for example, right? He had one song that I know of where he was speaking about, Moses being the so-called black man, and basically the people of the book being so-called black. And then what did those individuals that run the music industry do? They created something called gangster rap. And gangster rap has nothing to do with knowledge. It has everything to do with the worst of us being pushed and glamorized for the youth to want to be. And look at society, right? Pre-gangster rap and post-gangster rap. How violent it became, how violent we became, how unloving we became, how separate we became, right? That's the power that media has. So fast forward to 2022, right? And now you have everybody that's separate, but it's under extremely wicked mindset based off of what's being seen and pushed in this society, not understanding that these individuals fully know sounds as they relate to the body, visuals as it relates to the mind. They understand that these things are effective in, producing a certain mindset or a certain vibe in a person, right? And our people have been trained to not only hate themselves, but they are attracted to things that remind them of their self-hatred, right? Not understanding that it's coming from your enemy and it's all by design, right? This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 1, and verse 1. It says, "How doth the city sit solitary, that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations, and princes among the provinces. How is she become tributary? She weepeth sore in the night, and her tears are on her cheeks." Speaking about Jerusalem or Israel, it says, "Among all her lovers, she hath none to comfort her. All her friends have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies." Right? They are become her enemies. These surrounding nations are not for you, even though they smile all the time and seem gentle. Right? They are not. Right? Matter of fact, let me see. We go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, and chapter 12 and verse 10. Sirach chapter 12 verse 10, it says, "Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped the looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away." Right? You cannot trust these individuals, even though they come all gentle and humble and, we for the people and, love. At the end of the day, they know the things that they're doing breeds death. They know this. Right? That's why they keep pushing it. All right, hold on one second. Let me let another video play. All right. So it says Disney president. This is a president in the corporation of Disney, which is one of the big six: Comcast, Disney, AT&T, Paramount, Sony, and Fox. Disney, I know a lot of people, when you hear Disney, your mind automatically goes to one channel. But they control channels. ESPN is controlled by Disney. Listen to what this lady said.
I'm here as a mother of two queer children, actually. One transgender child and one pansexual child, and also as a leader. And that was the thing that really got me, because I have heard so much from so many of my colleagues over the course of the last couple of weeks, in open forums and through emails and phone conversations, and I feel a responsibility to speak, not just for myself, but for them, to all of us. We had an open forum last week at 20th where, again, the home of really incredible, groundbreaking LGBTQIA stories over the years, where one of our execs stood up and said, we only have a handful of queer leads in our content. And I went, what? That can't be true. And I realized, it actually is true. We have many, many, many LGBTQIA characters in our stories, and yet we don't have enough leads.
So she just said they need more leads. So whole films and whole shows and whole cartoons where the leads, right, are a part of the ABCDEFG crew, right? The ABCDEFG crew. You understand what I'm saying, right? These devils don't want your kid to grow up with a natural mind. They are wanting to control the next generation, because that's what this all about. You not finna change a grown man or a grown woman's mind based off of something that they watching on TV. If that individual is sane at all. This is more so to the youth. But see, the youth don't stay youth. They grow up. And if during that growing up process, they haven't found the truth about this world that they live in, guess what kind of grown up they're going to be? All right. They're going to be the grown up that these people that run this place want them to be. Psalm 41:7 says, all that hate me whisper together against me do they devise my hurt. That's basically all this is, just plots. Plots to produce death. Right? Plots to produce a certain mindset that we in society have to deal with because individuals are too blind to really see what's going on. It's a lack of awareness. And they cool with being unaware. They have a saying that says ignorance is bliss, but it really ain't. Ignorance is hurtful. Ignorance, it also leads to death. Scripture says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Ignorance leads to destruction, and they know it. These companies know this, right? That's why the tobacco company banking that you don't find out the ingredients inside of them cigarettes. These different media companies are banking that you're not looking into what kind of spirituality they really practice. What God do they trust in? These central banks are banking that you don't look into who's running these banks and how much power do they really have on the earth. All right? And like I said, it's going to affect the child. It's not just about you being a grown individual who is already set in their ways. This is about the youth. All right? I'm going to go to the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 8 and verse 25 says, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. How you think these companies are able to merge? It's because they are so successful at their job. And their job is craft. It's craftiness, man. All right, it says, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. Because it seems like we're in peaceful times, but it's really not. It seems like those individuals having the lead in these different shows, movies, and cartoons, it's no big deal. But it really is. 2 men cannot produce life. 2 women cannot produce life. All right? It says, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. At the end of the day, this place is falling and ultimately will completely fall. They just digging their own grave, to be real. All right? I'm going to go to the book of Proverbs. And those of us that are operating in the spirit of truth and holiness to the best of our ability, praying that the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai don't take that spirit of holiness and truth away from us, we understand what we're supposed to be doing with the youth. Even when the youth, and I'm talking about ours, somebody else's, that's your business. But if you hear this word and it resonates to your spirit, hey, do what you got to do. Right? But to each individual house, we know what we're supposed to be doing with our house, man. Right? So this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 22. And verse 6, it says, train up a child in the way he should go. And when he is old, he will not depart from it. That works both ways, bro. That's righteous or unrighteous. So if you got people out here in this world that's training up their children in an unrighteous manner, allowing all sorts of wickedness to enter into their temple, when they grow up, it will not depart. They're going to continue to be wicked. But if you're training up that child in the way that he should go, when he grows up, he will not depart from it. All right? So I'm going to end with this. This for 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 19. It says, "What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of Harakah Kodash, or the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of power, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify power in your body and in your spirit, which are powers." Do not allow this wickedness to enter into your temple, man. I know they throw subliminals all the way, but make sure you casting them down as quick as they coming in. Don't just watch things to be entertained. Don't get it twisted. I'm not sitting here telling you that I don't watch television and I don't watch videos that are strictly for entertainment. But at the end of the day, I'm keeping the spiritual mind by myself with the whole thing. And you have to teach your children to do the same thing. So if Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai allows this place to still exist and they grow old in this place, they'll be able to honor you like they're supposed to according to this word, and not dishonor you according to this world. All right, so with that, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai Ratazah, these precepts in this video were edifying. Call Haloyim Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Harakah Kodash. Shalom, Yahshalom.